Linda called me last Tuesday in a panic. She is 73 years old, drives a 2015 Toyota Camry, and had just spent $420 at the dealership. For what? To turn off a tire pressure light. The mechanic told her the sensor needed replacing. But here is the kicker. The sensor was fine. Her tires were slightly low from the cold weather. All she needed was air and a simple reset. $420 gone. And Linda is not alone. Every single day, millions of drivers hand over their hard-earned money for problems that do not actually exist. According to recent data, approximately 10% of all vehicles on the road right now have some kind of warning light illuminated on their dashboard. That is roughly 26 million cars in America alone, driving around with a glowing reminder that something might be wrong. But here is what the automotive industry does not want you to know. In up to 30% of those cases, the problem has already fixed itself. The light just needs to be reset. And in many other cases, the fix is so simple you could do it yourself in your driveway without spending a single penny. I spent the last 14 months compiling every single reset trick I could find. I talked to mechanics, technicians, engineers, and everyday drivers who discovered these secrets the hard way. What I found changed everything I thought I knew about car maintenance. In this video, I am going to share the exact 30-second techniques that can clear virtually any warning light on your dashboard. Some of these tricks have been buried in service manuals for decades. Others were discovered by frustrated car owners who refused to pay hundreds of dollars for a simple fix. And I want to be crystal clear about something before we begin. This is not about ignoring real problems. If your engine is knocking, your brakes are grinding, or smoke is pouring from under your hood, you need a mechanic immediately. What we are talking about here are the phantom warnings, the false alarms, the stubborn lights that stay on even after you have addressed the actual issue. These tricks work on nearly every vehicle made after 1996. That was the year the government mandated a standardized diagnostic system called OBD2. If your car has that little port under the dashboard where mechanics plug in their computers, these methods should work for you. Ready to take back control of your dashboard? Let us start with the most powerful reset of them all. There is one technique so effective that it can clear almost any warning light on your vehicle. Mechanics have used this method for decades, and yet most drivers have never heard of it. Here is how it works. First, turn off your vehicle completely. Pop the hood and locate your car battery. You will see two terminals, one positive marked with a plus sign, and one negative marked with a minus sign. Using a wrench, disconnect the negative terminal first. This is important. Always negative first. Once that cable is off the battery post, wait 15 minutes. During this time, the residual electricity stored in your car's computer systems drains away completely. All those stored error codes, all those false readings, all those phantom warnings, they vanish. After 15 minutes, reconnect the negative cable and tighten it securely. Start your engine and let it idle for about 10 minutes. During this time, your car's computer is waking up fresh. It has forgotten all its bad habits and learned behaviors. It is starting from zero. For many drivers, this simple procedure clears check engine lights, resets transmission adapts, and eliminates multiple warning indicators in one shot. But here is where it gets interesting. Some vehicles from 2010 and newer have something called a keep alive memory. This is a special system that maintains certain learned parameters even when the battery is disconnected. For these vehicles, a standard battery disconnect might not be enough. The solution: after disconnecting both the positive and negative cables, touch them together for about 30 seconds. This completely drains every last bit of stored electricity from the system and forces a true hard reset. When you reconnect everything, your car's computer boots up like it just rolled off the assembly line. I know a mechanic in Ohio with 25 years of experience who told me that this single technique accounts for roughly 40% of the problems he fixes. People come in with all sorts of warning lights, and he starts with this reset before doing anything else. Half the time, the lights stay off permanently. Now let us talk about the check engine light. This is the big one. The dreaded orange glow that strikes fear into the hearts of drivers everywhere. Here is what most people do not realize. The check engine light can illuminate for hundreds of different reasons, ranging from a loose gas cap to a catastrophic engine failure. And according to the Automotive Aftermarket Industry Association, 60% of drivers simply ignore this light when it appears. They keep driving, hoping it will go away on its own. Sometimes it does, but not because the problem fixed itself. The light stays on because the computer is waiting for you to reset it. The most common cause of a check engine light? A loose or damaged gas cap. This accounts for roughly 30% of all check engine light activations. Think about that. Nearly 1/3 of the time, the solution is to tighten your gas cap and reset the light. Here is the 30-second trick for the check engine light. Turn your key to the on position without starting the engine. If you have push-button start, press the button once without touching the brake pedal. Now turn the key back to off. Repeat this 3 times in a row. On the 4th time, leave the key in the on position and wait. For many vehicles, this cycling of the ignition triggers a built-in reset sequence. There is another method that is even simpler. After fixing whatever caused the light to come on, drive your vehicle at varying speeds for about 15 to 20 miles. The computer continuously monitors your systems, and if everything checks out okay, it will clear the code automatically. This is called a drive cycle reset. You can also pick up an OBD2 scanner. These used to cost hundreds of dollars and were only available to professional mechanics. Now you can buy a perfectly good one for under $30. Some are even wireless and connect to your smartphone. Plug it into the port under your dashboard, follow the prompts, and clear those codes yourself. I want to tell you about Gerald, a subscriber who emailed me last month. He had been driving with his check engine light on for over a year because the dealership quoted him $1,600 to fix an oxygen sensor. On a whim, he bought a $30 scanner, cleared the code, and the light has stayed off for 4 months now. The sensor was not actually failing. It had thrown a false reading during a cold start, and the computer never cleared it. That is $1,600 saved with a $30 tool. Now let us tackle the tire pressure light. This might be the most frustrating warning light of all. You fill your tires to the exact recommended pressure, and still, that little exclamation point keeps staring at you from the dashboard. The Tire Pressure Monitoring System, or TPMS, was mandated by Congress back in 2000. Every vehicle under 10,000 pounds must have sensors that alert you when tire pressure drops more than 25% below the manufacturer's recommendation. But here is the problem. These sensors are battery-powered, and they can glitch. Temperature changes alone can trigger false warnings. When the mercury drops 20 degrees overnight, the air pressure in your tires can drop 1 to 2 pounds per square inch. That might be enough to trigger the light, even though your tires are technically fine. Here is the first trick for the TPMS light. Drive at 50 miles per hour or faster for about 10 to 15 minutes. This generates heat in the tires, which slightly increases the pressure. More importantly, it gives the sensors time to recalibrate. Many vehicles will automatically clear the TPMS light after a short highway drive. Here is another method. Look for the TPMS Reset button. On many vehicles, it is located under the steering wheel or in the glove box. With the ignition turned to on but the engine not running, press and hold this button until the tire pressure light blinks 3 times. Release the button, start your car, and give it about 20 minutes to complete the reset process. There is also a more extreme technique that sounds crazy, but it works. Inflate all 4 tires to about 3 pounds per square inch above the recommended pressure. Then deflate them completely. Completely flat. Then inflate them back to the correct pressure. This extreme cycle forces the sensors to recognize the new pressure values and often clears stubborn TPMS warnings. One important note about the tire pressure light. If it is flashing instead of staying solid, That typically indicates a problem with the sensor itself, not the tire pressure. A flashing light might mean the sensor battery is dying or the sensor has failed. In these cases, replacement might actually be necessary. But for solid lights that just will not turn off, the reset methods I just described work remarkably well. Now let us discuss the ABS and traction control lights. These lights often appear together, and they can be terrifying. Your anti-lock braking system and traction control system work together to keep your vehicle stable during emergency maneuvers. When these lights come on, most people assume the worst. But in many cases, the culprit is surprisingly simple. A dirty wheel speed sensor. Each wheel on your vehicle has a sensor that measures how fast it is spinning. The ABS computer uses this information to prevent wheel lockup during hard braking. When one of these sensors gets covered in road grime, brake dust, or debris, it can send faulty signals that trigger the warning lights. Here is the 30-second fix for ABS lights. Pull into your driveway and safely jack up one corner of your vehicle at a time. Look behind each wheel, near the brake rotor. You will see a small sensor, usually held in place with a single bolt. Without removing the sensor, spray it generously with brake cleaner and wipe away any visible debris. Do this for all 4 wheels. Next, locate your ABS fuse in the fuse box. Your owner's manual will tell you exactly where it is. Remove this fuse and wait about 15 minutes. This drains the stored memory from the ABS module. Reinsert the fuse, start your vehicle, and drive slowly for a short distance to let the system recalibrate. For many drivers, this simple cleaning and reset procedure eliminates ABS and traction control warnings permanently. I should mention that low brake fluid can also trigger these lights. Your brake fluid reservoir is typically located on top of the brake master cylinder under the hood. If the level is low, top it off with the correct type of brake fluid for your vehicle. But here is the thing. Brake fluid does not just disappear. If your level is low, you either have a leak somewhere or your brake pads have worn down enough that more fluid is needed to fill the gap. Either way, get it checked out after you perform the reset. Let me tell you something that might surprise you about the oil change light. The oil change light and the oil pressure warning light are 2 completely different things. The oil change light is simply a reminder. It is a timer or mileage counter that tells you when your vehicle thinks it is time for fresh oil. This light does not actually measure your oil quality or level. It is just counting miles or running hours. The oil pressure warning light, on the other hand, is a genuine emergency. If this light comes on while you are driving, pull over immediately. Your engine could be starving for lubrication, and continuing to drive could cause catastrophic damage within minutes. Understanding the difference is crucial. If you have changed your oil but the oil change reminder light is still on, you simply need to reset it. For most Ford vehicles, turn the ignition to on without starting the engine. Press the accelerator and brake pedals fully at the same time. Hold both pedals down for about 25 seconds. You should see a message confirming the reset is in progress. For most GM vehicles, turn the key to accessory mode. Press the accelerator pedal to the floor 5 times within 5 seconds. The oil life should reset to 100%. For most Honda vehicles, turn the ignition on without starting the engine. Press and hold the select or reset button near your speedometer until the oil life display appears. Continue holding for about 10 seconds until the display starts flashing. Then release and hold again for 5 more seconds. For most Toyota vehicles, turn the key to on with the engine off. Press the trip odometer button repeatedly until it shows the oil life or maintenance reset screen. Press and hold the button until the display resets. For Nissan vehicles, turn the ignition on without starting the engine. Fully press and release the accelerator pedal 3 times within 10 seconds. Turn off the ignition. When you restart your car, the light should be cleared. Every manufacturer has a slightly different procedure, but they all follow the same basic principle. You are telling the computer that you have performed the maintenance and it can start counting again from 0. Seeing the Airbag Warning Light can be genuinely scary. After all, Your airbags are designed to save your life in a collision. If that light is on, does it mean they will not deploy when you need them? Not necessarily. The airbag system is incredibly sensitive. It can throw a warning light for reasons as simple as sitting on your seatbelt buckle wrong or spilling coffee on the passenger seat. A weak battery can trigger it. Disconnecting your seats for cleaning can trigger it. Even a change in humidity can sometimes cause a temporary glitch. Here is the 30-second Airbag Light Reset. Turn your key to the on position without starting the engine. Watch the airbag light on your dashboard. It will illuminate as part of the normal startup sequence. The moment the light turns off, immediately turn the key back to off. Wait about 5 seconds. Repeat this cycle 3 to 4 times in a row. On the final cycle, start the engine normally. This ignition cycling method works on many vehicles because it allows the airbag module to run through its diagnostic sequence multiple times in quick succession. If the original trigger was a temporary glitch, the repeated cycling often clears the stored error code. However, I want to be very clear about something. If the airbag light stays on after attempting this reset, do not ignore it. Get it checked by a professional. Airbag systems are not something to gamble with. Now, before we continue, I want to tell you about something I created. It is called Car Buttons That Save You Money. This is a complete guide that covers every single button inside your vehicle. The traction control button, eco mode, sport mode, snow mode, auto hold, hill descent control, that mysterious button with the car and squiggly lines, and dozens more. For each button, I explain exactly what it does in plain English. I show you when to use it and when to leave it alone. I reveal hidden button combinations that unlock features most owners never discover. Secret menus, calibration options, settings the dealer never mentioned. The guide is organized by category, so you can find any button in seconds. It works for sedans, trucks, SUVs, crossovers, whatever you drive. Thousands of drivers are already using it to finally understand what all those buttons actually do. The link is in the description below. All right, let us continue. Modern vehicles are rolling computer networks. Your car might have dozens of electronic control modules, all communicating with each other millions of times per second. And all of that technology runs on electricity. When your battery or charging system light illuminates, it is telling you that something in this electrical ecosystem is not working correctly. The alternator might not be charging. The battery might be weak. There could be a poor connection somewhere. But here is what most people do not realize. After replacing a battery or having charging system work done, your vehicle's battery management system needs to be told about the change. Otherwise, it still thinks it is dealing with your old, weak battery. Here is the battery management system reset. With the ignition turned to on, press and hold the brake pedal. While holding the brake, press the accelerator pedal all the way to the floor and hold it there for about 10 seconds. Release both pedals. Turn the ignition off. Start your vehicle normally and let it idle for several minutes. This sequence tells your car's computer that a fresh battery has been installed and it needs to recalibrate its charging parameters. Without this reset, your new battery might not receive the proper charge, which could shorten its life significantly. Speaking of batteries, here is something interesting. If your vehicle has an automatic start-stop system, which shuts off the engine at red lights to save fuel, that system might stop working after a battery disconnect. This is not a malfunction. It is a safety feature. The computer needs to verify that the battery is fully charged and healthy before it will allow the engine to shut off automatically. After a day or two of normal driving, the start-stop feature should return to normal operation. Few things cause more anxiety than transmission problems. A new transmission can cost anywhere from $3,000 to $8,000, depending on your vehicle. So when that transmission warning light comes on, most people immediately assume the worst. But transmissions in modern vehicles are adaptive. They learn your driving habits and adjust their shift points accordingly. Sometimes, this learning process goes wrong. The transmission stores bad data, and suddenly it feels like it is hunting for gears or shifting harshly. Here is the transmission reset trick. Turn the key to on without starting the engine. With your foot firmly on the brake pedal, slowly move the gear selector through each position. Park, reverse, neutral, drive. Pause for a few seconds at each position. This allows the transmission control module to recognize each gear position clearly. Leave the selector in drive for about 30 seconds, then return to park. Now start the engine and let it idle for a few minutes. Take the vehicle for a gentle test drive, allowing the transmission to relearn your driving patterns. For many vehicles, this simple procedure eliminates rough shifting, hesitation, and transmission warning lights. The computer forgets its bad habits and starts fresh. I received an email from a viewer named Marcus, who was told by his mechanic that he needed a new transmission. The quote was $6,000. He tried this reset procedure as a last resort before scheduling the repair. That was 8 months ago. His transmission has been shifting perfectly ever since. Sometimes the problem is not hardware, it is software. You walk out to your car, press the unlock button on your key fob, and nothing happens. You try again. Still nothing. You manually unlock the door with the physical key, climb inside, and turn the ignition. The engine cranks but will not start. A security light is flashing on your dashboard. This is the immobilizer system in action. It is designed to prevent theft by requiring a properly programmed key before the engine will start. But sometimes the key and the car lose their connection. They stop recognizing each other. Before you panic and call a locksmith, try this. Insert your key and turn it to the on position without starting the engine. Leave it there and wait. Watch the security light on your dashboard. It might be solid or flashing. After about 10 to 15 minutes, the light should change, either turning off or switching from flashing to solid. When the light changes, turn the key to off and wait 10 seconds. Repeat this entire process 3 times. On the final cycle, try to start the engine. This extended waiting period allows the immobilizer system to complete its authentication process. The key and the car are essentially having a long conversation, re-establishing their connection. For vehicles with push-button start, the process is slightly different. Place your key fob directly against the start button, as if the fob battery were dead. Press the button while holding the fob in place. This allows the car to read the fob's chip through direct contact rather than wirelessly. Many drivers have avoided expensive locksmith visits using this simple technique. Your vehicle's evaporative emission control system, or EVAP system, is designed to capture fuel vapors from your gas tank and prevent them from escaping into the atmosphere. When this system detects a leak, it triggers a check engine light with specific codes related to evaporative emissions. But here is the thing. The most common cause of an EVAP code is a loose gas cap. After filling up at the gas station, make sure your gas cap clicks at least 3 times when you tighten it. That clicking sound indicates a proper seal. If you have replaced or tightened your gas cap but the light remains on, try this reset. Remove the gas cap completely. Inspect the rubber gasket around the edge. Look for cracks, brittleness, or debris that might prevent a proper seal. Clean the gasket with a damp cloth and reinstall the cap, ensuring it clicks securely. Now perform the ignition cycle reset. Turn the key to on, wait 10 seconds, turn it off. Repeat 3 times, then drive your vehicle normally for about 50 miles. The computer needs to run multiple self-tests before it will clear an EVAP code, and these tests only run under specific driving conditions. When your coolant temperature light or gauge shows your engine running hot, it demands immediate attention. An overheating engine can suffer catastrophic damage in minutes. Head gaskets can blow. Engines can seize. But there is a difference between an engine that is truly overheating and a temperature sensor that is giving false readings. If your engine is actually overheating, you will notice other symptoms. Steam from under the hood. A sweet smell from coolant leaking onto hot components. Reduced power as the computer tries to protect the engine. If you notice any of these signs, pull over immediately, turn off the engine, and call for help. However, If your temperature gauge is spiking but the engine seems to be running normally, you might have a sensor issue. Coolant temperature sensors can fail or give erratic readings. Corroded electrical connections can interfere with the signal. Low coolant levels can expose the sensor, causing false high readings. First, with the engine cool, check your coolant level. The reservoir under your hood has minimum and maximum markings. The level should be between these marks. If it is low, add the correct type of coolant for your vehicle. Second, inspect the electrical connector on the coolant temperature sensor. This sensor is usually located near the thermostat housing. Unplug the connector and look for corrosion or damage. Clean the contacts with electrical contact cleaner and reconnect securely. If you drive a diesel vehicle, you might encounter a warning light you have never seen before. It looks like a little box with dots inside it. This is your diesel particulate filter, or DPF, warning. The DPF captures soot and particulate matter from your exhaust. Periodically, the system performs something called a regeneration cycle, where it burns off this accumulated soot at extremely high temperatures. The problem is, regeneration only happens when the engine reaches a certain temperature for an extended period. If you primarily drive short distances around town, your engine might never get hot enough or stay hot long enough to complete regeneration. The filter fills up, and the warning light comes on. Here is the fix for the DPF light. Take your vehicle on a highway drive. Get up to highway speeds and maintain them for at least 30 minutes. During this time, the engine reaches optimal temperature and the regeneration cycle can complete. You might notice slightly reduced power or a different exhaust smell during regeneration. This is normal. Many diesel owners make a habit of taking their vehicle on a highway run once every week or two, specifically to allow the DPF to regenerate. Prevention is much cheaper than paying for a filter cleaning or replacement, which can cost over $1,000. Some vehicles have sensors that monitor brake pad thickness and illuminate a warning light when the pads are getting thin. Other vehicles use a mechanical indicator, a small metal tab that squeals against the brake rotor when the pads are worn. If you have replaced your brake pads but the brake wear indicator light is still on, you need to reset the sensor. This typically requires an OBD2 scanner with enhanced capabilities. Basic scanners can clear check engine codes but might not be able to access the brake system module. A scanner in the $100 to $200 range usually has the capability to reset brake wear indicators, along with other body and chassis systems. Modern vehicles are equipped with an array of driver assistance systems: lane departure warning, forward collision warning, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert. These systems use cameras and radar sensors to monitor your surroundings. When one of these systems malfunctions, you typically get a warning light accompanied by a message like lane departure unavailable or forward collision warning not functioning. Before you schedule a dealer visit, try these simple fixes. First, clean your windshield and side mirrors thoroughly. Many of these systems use cameras mounted behind the rearview mirror or in the side mirrors. A dirty windshield or a smudged mirror can interfere with the camera's ability to see clearly, triggering a malfunction warning. Check for obstructions as well. Dashboard ornaments, hanging air fresheners, and even large cracks in the windshield can block or distort the camera's view. Extreme weather can also affect these systems. Heavy rain, snow, fog, and even direct sunlight can temporarily disable driver assistance features. The warning light will illuminate to let you know the system is unavailable, but once conditions improve, the system should return to normal operation. You can also try the ignition cycle reset. Turn the vehicle off, wait 30 seconds, and restart. Sometimes the cameras simply need to recalibrate, and a fresh start clears the issue. If none of these simple fixes work, the system might need professional calibration, but that is much less expensive than replacing a perfectly good sensor. Now I want to address something important. Everything I have shared in this video is meant to help you deal with false alarms and stubborn warning lights that persist after the underlying problem has been addressed. These techniques should never be used to simply turn off a warning light and ignore a real problem. Warning lights exist for a reason. They are your vehicle's way of communicating that something needs attention. The goal here is not to silence your car, but to ensure that when your dashboard lights up, it is because something genuinely requires your action. That said, the automotive industry has a vested interest in making you feel helpless. Dealerships charge $75 to $150 just to plug in a scanner and read your codes. Independent shops charge $50 to $100 for the same service. Meanwhile, that exact same scanner is available for purchase for less than the cost of a single diagnostic session. Knowledge is power. And now you have the knowledge to take control of your vehicle's warning systems. Let me leave you with a few final tips that apply to virtually every warning light situation. First, invest in an OBD2 scanner. Seriously, even a basic $20 to $30 scanner can read and clear the most common codes. More advanced scanners in the $100 to $200 range can access nearly every system in your vehicle. Over the life of your car ownership, this single tool will save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Second, keep your battery healthy. A weak battery is the root cause of more phantom warning lights than almost anything else. If your battery is more than 3 to 4 years old, have it tested. A dying battery can cause all sorts of strange electrical gremlins that manifest as random warning lights. Third, drive your vehicle regularly and properly. Modern cars need to be driven at highway speeds periodically to complete various self-diagnostic cycles. If you only make short trips around town, your vehicle's computer systems never fully cycle through their testing routines. This can lead to stored codes and warning lights that would otherwise clear themselves. Fourth, read your owner's manual. I know nobody reads manuals, but buried in those pages are specific reset procedures, maintenance schedules, and warning light explanations that are unique to your vehicle. 15 minutes with the manual could save you hundreds of dollars at the dealer. And finally, trust your instincts. If something feels wrong with your vehicle beyond just a warning light, get it checked out. Unusual noises, vibrations, smells, or changes in how your car drives are all signals that should not be ignored. You have now learned the 30-second tricks that can clear virtually any warning light. You know the master reset technique that can wipe your car's computer clean. You understand the specific procedures for check engine lights, tire pressure warnings, ABS and traction control systems, oil change reminders, airbag alerts, battery management, transmission warnings, key fob issues, and so much more. This knowledge puts you in control. You no longer have to panic when a light illuminates on your dashboard. You no longer have to hand over hundreds of dollars for a mechanic to push a few buttons. If this video helped you, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I release videos every week that help you understand your vehicle better, save money on maintenance, and avoid getting taken advantage of at the repair shop. Drop a comment below and tell me which warning light has been giving you trouble. I read every single comment, and your question might become the topic of a future video. And remember, your car is a machine. Machines can be understood. They can be fixed. And with the right knowledge, they do not have to drain your bank account. See you in the next video.